We think that there are always opportunities within the market. Take, for example, Facebook, highly controversial stock trading at 20 times, earnings, 21 times next year's free cash flow for 20% growth. So it's trading at the same multiple of free cash flow as the S&P, but it's growing 4 times as fast. It's investing 5 times as much in R&D on an annual basis as most companies in the S&P. So we think that that's a really interesting opportunity to have very fair valuation in a market that is largely inflated.
Despite all of the stuff around, everything that I'm referring to around Facebook, you can disconnect yourself as an investor, and you're completely willing to do that, to look past all of the ugliness of the story that's been for the last many months and just focus on the fundamental investing analysis. And you don't think that's going to change in any way from a regulatory standpoint or any other?
Well, let me be very clear. I'm a dad of a 13 and a 10-year-old. Facebook is not in my top 5 list of concerns, right? We don't talk about Snapchat. We don't talk about TikTok. I mean, the number of concerns that parents have. We don't talk about companies selling sugary substances to our kids. So I actually applaud Facebook for doing the research they did. I wish they would open source the research that talks about impacts on teens. I wish they would challenge everybody else in the industry to do the same and give parents a quarterly report, a dashboard about the impact of all online activities on kids. So, no, I don't think Facebook is uniquely bad. In fact, I think the leadership team there is doing a terrific job. I think it's a great investment, and probably the most innovative company at scale today, other than ByteDance.
You really think that the management team there, in light of some of the stories that have come out recently, whistleblower included and others, is doing, in your words, a terrific job? I mean, come on. I think a lot of people would take issue, Brad, with that statement that Mark Zuckerberg, Sheryl Sandberg, and you can go down the list, could do a lot better than they've done, quite frankly. You don't think so?
Listen, I communicate with management. I've told them I think it would be a great idea to open source this report, to challenge other people to do the same. I mean, why aren't we asking other companies, Scott, why they're not doing this research? Why aren't we asking them, where is TikTok's research on the impact on kids? Snapchat's research on the impact on kids? The fact that the media is unilaterally focusing on Facebook seems to me to be misdirected. I would also point out that the leadership team at Facebook have young kids. I know them personally, and I do think they take all of this extraordinarily seriously.
Aren't you? Well, why don't you ask TikTok? Aren't you in ByteDance?
We are in ByteDance, and we have raised it to the company, along with other companies. I've tweeted about this, and I think that, listen, you have these guests on all the time, and I think there's an opportunity for you. You've always changed the conversation. This conversation should not just be about Facebook. It should be about the impact generally of these activities, of the most used applications on our children. Apple needs to account for this. Google needs to account for this. Snapchat needs to account for this. And yes, Facebook needs to account for it as well. I think the best thing we could do is open source the research and provide a longitudinal study of the impact of these activities on our kids.